balls respectively. Watson now has 84, 16 shy of a first Test match 100. Might just finish up on that issue of the finger spinner and the doosra. We can do it better, Warnie, with a split screen.
Yeah, the one on the right side is the off break. This one here is the doosra on the left of screen. You see the back of his hand there? You see the back of his hand. You see more of it, the doosra, and then you look at the off break and you see more of the side of his hand. See, there you go. So some batsmen can spot that quite easily, can't they? And other batsmen say, mate, I'm trying, I just can't see it. But they keep looking, and sometimes they start to look into too much and read too much into it.
Yeah, that is interesting, and I think Murali's the greatest example of that, because there are batsmen worldwide who have really struggled to pick his variations, and then there are other times and other individuals that say, well, I've got no problem picking him. So it's interesting how different batsmen have certain problems with some bowlers, and then there's a different day. Murali could be harder, and then there's the older the ball, he becomes increasingly hard.
Well, it's not the ideal off break, is it? Because the seam is not rotating on its own axis. When the seam tumbles like that, it's hit and miss as to whether the ball will pitch on the seam. Ideally, you want the seam upright and at 45 degrees so that the ball will pitch on the seam and spin that way. It does, of course, help confuse the batsman with regards which is the doosra, but it's not as effective an off-spinner, and that's why we haven't seen him spin the off-spinner a great deal.
And to make the doosra even more potent, your off break has to be good. And I think that's where someone like Saqlain Mushtaq was so good at the start when he first came in for Pakistan. He had such a wonderful off break. It spun, it had shape, had everything, and suddenly this doosra came along and he had a faster one. He got so fast, he forgot to bowl his off break so well. And that does bring in your good doosra when you've got a good off break. If you've just got one that goes fast and straight and turns a little bit, and then doosra straightens a little bit, it's not as effective. So I agree with the seam too. He's got to remember that bowl a good off break, and then bowl an off break every now and then with the seam scrambled, so they can make they think, oh, that's the doosra.